Hello, lovely people. Welcome to the Distinct and Jovial podcast. My name is Dom, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-founder, Jerry.
Greetings.
You ready for this one, Jerry?
I am. I'm so looking forward to this, and the listeners and viewers, or both. Suppose there's one. It's listeners and viewers. That'll be one category, and then just listeners, which would be the second category.
Yeah, I think there's a really funny trailer that I've listened to the other day where they did a live show podcast, right?
Okay.
Which we'd have to get to they've got like millions of subscribers, so they could fill out Leicester Square Hall. But in the trailer, he goes, "We're going to be in your eye holes and your ear holes," and you can hear at the end the other co-founder is laughing about it. And goes, "That's definitely staying in the trailer." It's like they put the outtakes into the trailer because that was the things. And I suppose yes, like listeners, viewers, the general public, lovely people, whatever you wish to call them, whatever you wish to define yourself as.
Well,
not for us to say, is it, Jerry?
It isn't. And at the risk of sounding a bit crass, and I don't mean it like this, but I think people will be pleased to know we'll only be entering one of two holes.
Yeah, that's true.
Or four.
That is very true.
Anyway.
Yeah, we'll do that. Right, so it is the 22nd of April. It's 20 past 1 in the afternoon, so we've changed our timings a little bit. This is episode 23, Jerry.
This is epic.
We've done 24 episodes, but this is officially episode 23 because we've done a bonus podcast.
I keep forgetting about that bonus. You keep reminding me about the bonus. I forget.
We did. It was the topical one. We did the Will Smith slap.
Yes,
we did. And we also did. What was the other one? Oh, it was around Foo Fighters as well. I've written a lot more notes this time for my intro, which like you, the listener or the viewer, whatever you wish to refer to yourself, subscribe. Please subscribe. It sounds really weird that I'm now asking people to do it, but it gets promoted to all your friends, and most of the people that listen to this are our friends, so it gets promoted to a wider circle of our friends. And we are loving the comments and the feedback that I get from everybody, even if that's sometimes in work and we don't know the other person that well, as Jerry can attest to.
Yeah. It happened the other day. I came across a super fan and I had no idea he's a super fan, and I don't really know him. But he seems to know me very well, obviously, because he's listened to all the podcasts. Love it.
Yes. So yes, and for those that are, if you can rate us on Spotify or any of the listening platforms, 5-star reviews. If you do a good enough 5-star review, I may even read it out in the next podcast. Ooh, give you a shout out on the podcast. We'll read it out.
Nice.
We'll read out a 5-star review. And maybe we might be able to grow our audience a little bit because I've got ideas until we've worked it out. We've now got podcasts planned until January, haven't we, Jerry? So we're not going to run out of ideas, but we also want audience input. And that's a lot of the stuff that's on here today has come from audience input. And the last thing I'm going to say, which I will explain before to Jerry, but it means that everyone else is going to do it. I lost the game. And that is going to annoy a lot of people.
You're going to expand on that?
Jerry will have no idea.
I haven't got a Scooby.
So you can go up to pretty much anybody born between about 1988 and 1996, I'd say. Kind of older millennials, those of us that are just entering our 30s, bad back included, and say to them, I lost the game. And they will have lost the game. So the idea behind the game is you're not allowed to think of the game. And as soon as you think of the game, you have lost the game, and you have to announce to everybody else that you have lost the game. Or if you're distributed, it tends to go into a text message, which means that they have then thought of the game and therefore lost the game. And the idea is not to think of the game so you don't lose the game. And generally, when somebody finds out and knows about the game, they are then part of the society that plays the game and is able to lose the game.
Good Lord, are you all right, Dom?
Yeah.
Are you
I thought
on
you might enjoy
anything?
that one. No, if you met me, it's the whole I am normally.
You're right there, dear. Just having a funny moment.
Honestly, I'm going to be great as an old age pensioner.
I literally have no idea what you're on about. So I'm just going to nod and go, yeah, cool.
Just
Yeah.
nodding, yes. Trust me, there are people that are currently raging at me right now, and it's pretty brilliant. And I'm going to get so many texts and messages from people when they listen to this podcast going, damn it, I lost the game. But it's going to be so good. Because you're not supposed to think of the game.
I did read that in the notes and thought, what the fringe? I knew you were going to explain it. I thought, if you don't mention it,
Yeah.
that's going to be the elephant in the room. I'm going to have to bring it up. Because it was bugging me. I thought, what's he on about? Well, clearly you're going to set context, which you have.
Yeah,
And I'm none the wiser.
And I still don't
I have no idea what the hell you're on about.
It'll be your homework for the next one, Jerry. You'll have to set
Okay.
homework to
I
my
will
fellow
bloody
co-founder.
hate homework.
Research league.
But that's fine. I'll do it. I prefer homework to exams.
Oh, I don't. Did I prefer exams or did I prefer essays?
When
and
I say
homework?
prefer, again, that's like the difference between having your feet
yeah.
burnt or your fingernails torn out. All right.
Yeah. It's the finding the best of a bad situation. I think I preferred. The thing is, right? I think exams, and I'm going to go on for tangent here, which we often do on this podcast.
We never do that.
The thing I hated about exams is that it tests you on your ability to remember stuff, rather than your actual understanding of something. And I have a very good short-term memory and an absolutely terrible long-term memory. So if you ask me what happened in September, I'm like, I haven't got Scooby-Doo. Right? What happened in 1994? Not a Scooby. 2005, no idea. But generally, I'm like specific things like numbers and bits and pieces, like small tidbits like that. I'm very, very good, which is why I was very much a crammer when it came to exams.
Lastminute.com.
Like, just cram it all in. Which meant that I did reasonably well at school, but it gives you absolutely zero skills for life.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, and it begs the question. But a lot of people are like that as well. My short-term memory is a lot better than my long-term memory, so I used to cram as well. You then get through the exam, you come out the other side of it, and literally a month later, you're thinking... I mean, about a month after I left school, I didn't remember anything I'd learned from the age of 6 to 18.
no.
It just disappeared out of my head. It all seeped out of my head.
I don't know about seeped out. I think mine just like...
Well, yeah, seep is probably the wrong word.
Yeah.
But it did. It just all fell out of my head. I don't remember anything.
Whereas essays, for example, I think did teach you reasonable life skills, so to speak, because a lot of our job revolves around applying knowledge, shall we say. So you can go and Google knowledge, like whatever you need, and then apply it to the situation that's at hand. It doesn't always work when you're a people manager because people are weird. But in terms of like tech, I don't have a good memory. So, for those that don't know, I'm an engineer, a software developer. But I still have to Google how to set up an HTML document because I can never remember it. But I don't need to remember it because I can just go and Google it, and then I've got enough knowledge to apply the answer to the page that I need. And it's the same with anything. Like you end up with applying knowledge, and that's the bit that's really beneficial. It's the same with understanding people. Because everybody's different, you can have all these theories and stuff, but sometimes I need to go and research the theory and then apply it to the person that I'm doing. Phrasing, the person that I'm talking to. Apologies.
Whoa!
I might cut that bit out because that was so bad. I might cut that bit out.
No, you can't cut that out. That's got to go into outtakes.
We're just going to make podcast. But the point there is that, like, you had to do that for an essay. You had to research and go on with an essay. So
I'm sorry.
I've gone completely off challenge, and I've completely put my foot in it, haven't I?
It's
Yeah?
fine. It's absolutely fine.
I suppose, based on the conversation we had before
Well-
the podcast. Maybe there's a reason why I'm single.
I was going to say something else. Do you know what? Sorry, I'm just going to say it. All exams taught me was where my outer limits were for how quickly I could write and how much I could write in a limited period of time, and how much I could deal with hand cramp. Whereas now, for example, if I have to write something down in my notebook, for example, if I'm on a work call and I'm making notes, after about 3 lines, my hand seizes up.
No,
It's
I'm
crazy,
saying,
isn't it? I can't write
it's
anymore.
mental. Somebody asked for my signature the other day. I was like, what?
What, autograph or signature?
No, you know, my actual signature on a document.
Autograph.
Needed to put.
Has it started?
Not my
Has it
autograph.
started now?
No,
Is this the
hasn't
tipping
started.
point, Dom?
Don't, because the person that knows you very well, that you don't know very well, complained after when I was in the office where you're based. Complained because you came over and said hello, and then somebody else came over and said hello, and then a third person came over, said hello, and gave me a hug, and then while I was in the queue with him for tea and coffee, Mary Poppins came over and said hello, and he just went, "For God's sake, does everybody in this damn building know you?"
They do. Next time, you know what I'm going to do? That person, next time you're both in the office, I'm going to come over, hand you a Sharpie, and ask you to autograph my leg.
I was going to say you can autograph your chest. I thought, no.
Well, no, just leg. But I'll make sure I shave like a little rectangle. Yeah, get rid of that bit of hair already. Then I'm going to get it tattooed.
What's your wife going to say?
Doesn't matter. Tattoo's a very personal thing.
But but on the handwriting thing, is your signature always consistent? Because mine, I'm pretty sure, is different every time I do it.
It's pretty similar. When I first started,
I mean, similar, yes.
When I first started, when I first started having to be an adult, and that meant me having to actually sign things like checks. This is going to divide the call, but checks.
I've
Oh,
done
there you
checks,
go.
Yeah. Just.
Yeah. It was difficult because you try, but I think it also it depends on how much space you've got to sign as well. So when you get
that's true,
right,
yeah.
so when you get a credit card or a debit card and you have to sign it, it's no thicker than a strand of spaghetti. That little area that you have to sign.
It's really small.
So
Yeah.
how you supposed?
And mine has a
Yeah,
mine's very much like this.
right. So how are you supposed to sign a card? So it doesn't quite look the same on a card. I have to just squish it down.
The worst one is passports.
Yes.
When you used to sign for passports, because your signature had to go in the
Yeah.
box. It couldn't leak. What was the word that you used earlier? Was it leak? No, it was
Seep.
seep. Yeah, whatever. But it couldn't go outside the lines
Yeah.
at all. Oh, colouring. And that meant that, like, for me, I literally had to do it really small so I could do the swirls in my surname properly.
And then it just doesn't quite look the same.
Yeah, no, it doesn't quite look the same. And then they get, it's the same way when I first got a beard, or when I switched, I knew I had to get a new passport. And the passport officer took my passport, looked at it, looked at me, looked back at it, and it went. And I went, "Oh, I need to get a new passport. Really, I don't quite look as good as my current passport does."
Can you imagine if you had to squish your face to fit a box for your passport photo?
You just
have to be like,
move the
"Oh, ah."
camera out, Jerry. No, because they say you're not allowed to.
Yeah, you can't.
Not allowed to smile.
Yeah, you're right.
So you'd have to be like the Scream movie, the Scream painting.
Is it Edvard Munch?
I can't
I
remember.
think it's Edvard Munch.
So actually, that's a really good tangent onto like my other beef, just in general. So I've discovered something about myself, and somebody. I was talking to one of my guardian angels at work about this. So I don't do any training, right? Because I can't retain that knowledge. I'm a research what I need for that immediate moment. So if somebody said, like, so for example, there's a new JavaScript library out. I don't know.
Oh, I
Next.js,
know
for
the one.
example.
I know the one you mean.
Yeah, you know the one. You should do. It's the one.
Yeah, no, I know the one. You're gonna have to bleep that out.
I've just said the company. I'm going to bleep that out.
Yes.
Let me make a note of that time.
Woo!
Oh no!
You did it! It's 1-1. It's 1-1. It's been 1-0 for so long now. It's 1-1.
Oh shit! I'm gonna have to properly listen to this podcast now. I'm really cut out some bits. I'm cutting out that other bit that I said.
Really? Well, you're gonna cut it or bleep it?
I might. No, I'm gonna. I don't know. I'll decide when I listen to it.
I mean, we started with the whole, with the hulls.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna have to bleep
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I'm sorry. We got way off tangent here.
But because I Google what I need at that specific time, like I won't be like, somebody might go do some training in like Next.js, and I'll be like, okay, but I don't want to because I won't retain the knowledge. So I go and research specifically, and it's I've discovered it's why I'm completely useless at quizzes. Because I just have no random knowledge. I don't go and research facts or find things out, and I don't retain any of the previous knowledge.
You say that. There was one of the quizzes that we did, and you said, and the dingbats came up, and you went, "Oh, we've done this before.
Dingbats is different.
We've done this before." And I thought, what?
Yeah.
After that quiz, I went back.
Yeah, and I nailed that one.
I went back. That was like 14 months ago. That dingbats was in, but you remembered it. I was.
Yeah, and that's where my short-term memory is good. But dingbats are okay because you can't. They're not knowledge. You've just got to kind of look at it a little bit.
No. But it was a repeat.
Literal.
No, but it was a repeat.
Oh,
yeah.
You mean the repeat?
Yeah.
One?
You spotted
yes,
it. You said, "Oh, we've had the dingbats before," and I thought, "Oh, okay, the fringe." And I literally painstakingly went back to each one. And just like, okay, that's not that one.
That was when we were doing weekly ones as well.
Yeah, we did weekly ones. Yeah, it was like
we were doing a lot of
dingbats, and that was like from 14 months before. I don't know how you did that. I was properly impressed.
If we want to call out, like that's a weird like I'll pick random information. Like I'm really good at remembering numbers, for example.
Okay, phone numbers,
which not phone numbers, like really weird numbers. Like I remember a lot of like the codes that we use within work.
Okay.
I'm really trying.
Yeah.
I'm really conscious of it because I've said it now.
It's too late. It's 1-1.
Like I know. It's
1-1.
I'm not going to let that down.
You're not. You are not. Yep. We've got a bleep.
Yeah, I've got a couple now, but I remember all of those numbers, and it. And some people have been working. There are some people that have been working in the company longer than me, and I'm the only person that remembers all the numbers. And everyone will be like, "Oh yeah, it's this one. Let me go find it. Oh no, that's the code for it's this. It's that. It's this." And that's apparently weird, but it is. But it's when it comes to quizzes, I don't just retain random knowledge.
No, that's fair enough.
And I assume that's why you're the quiz master.
Oh yeah. 1, I don't retain any knowledge. 2, my level of general knowledge is terrible. 3, I'm just rubbish. And with any kind of a quiz, for me, it's like a test. So then my anxiety levels automatically, even if it's enjoyable, which it is, my anxiety levels go up. And then I think, oh God, this is like an enjoyable test. I don't like it. And then I feel the pressure. Then I can't remember anything. Even obvious questions. Things that you could answer. If somebody was just to ask you off the cuff, you'd go, oh yeah, that's so-and-so. But then in a quiz situation, it's like, oh, I don't know. My mind's gone blank. And then you start beating yourself up. Then you feel inadequate. It feeds into that spiral of anxiety, hopelessness, helplessness. We are going deep.
Although you do the songs.
Yeah.
Because you don't know the answers when those songs come up.
I do.
Yeah. Oh, do you? Okay. That's
I
do. A
do.
bit different. Oh, I didn't think you did. I thought you were guessing some of them.
No.
I suppose that's why you say, "Oh, this next one's brilliant."
Yeah, exactly. Or I really don't like this one. I don't know why this is popular. Or yeah, that's a great cover. Or whatever. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to write down now, like the bleep.
Tom's gonna have to bleep. Tom's gonna have to bleep. Well, no, I'm going to send you timings once you send me the file.
Well, this is true, yes.
So I'll listen out for that.
I will, but I'll edit the file before I've sent it to you. So I would have probably put the bleeps in. I've had to do a bleep for a little while. That's fine. I suppose the last thing that we should have said on this, like, introduction spiel that always goes on is, by the way, the views are they don't represent the company, which I've just mentioned, even though we said that we never would.
Tom.
Jerry did it first.
This is amateur hour. It's amateur hour.
This is. We are. What's wrong with us? Oh, dear.
My God, it's 22 minutes, 51 seconds. We just finished the intro.
Like, to be fair, we did have like 3 minutes before we started.
Oh, well, that makes it all right then.
So we're bang on 20 minutes.
There you go.
20-minute intro. This is what these folks come for the Distinct and Jovial podcast. This is what we offer. Complete and utter chaos.
Love it.
Right, food of the month. Now, food of the month for this one, Jerry, is kind of linked to last time. Right, and I've already sent you one of the memes.
You have.
We've discussed it this week.
We have.
But it come from a friend who I actually didn't realise was a massive, massive fan. Fan is probably a strong term, but listens to the podcast and sends me abuse on Messenger.
I would classify that person as a fan. Right. If they're going to the trouble of sending you abuse and they've listened to every episode, they're a fan.
Yeah. Yeah. They are also the one that's going to probably be the most annoyed when I told them that they lost the game. So that makes me a little bit happier. So she came up, she was listening to the podcast, and there are two things that she said. The first is the question that I've put on, which we'll address straight away. And the second thing is an opinion that she's very wrong on.
Okay.
So the first thing, best bread for sandwiches.
I.e.
And
what, like multigrain, white, brown?
Well, this is the thing. So we were discussing this. It's things like, and I know we've discussed Subway before because it's a pointless restaurant, but do you have, yeah, definitely. Thanks, Evgeny. Do you have Italian herb and cheese?
Yes.
Do you have
that's my go-to. No, that's my go-to.
Multigrain, seeded.
Honey oat. There's honey oat as well, isn't there? Yeah.
Yeah. Then you've got, so do you have like white, brown, seeded? Crust, ends of a loaf, so a crust or a non-crust. Then you've got, do you want like some specialty breads? You've got sourdough, tiger, or giraffe. Then you've got ciabattas. Then you've got brioche buns. So what is the definitive? And does it change per filling?
Oh. Okay, well, before we go any further, what the actual fringe is tiger bread? What is it? Bread with bits of real tiger? What the hell is it? What is tiger bread?
Did you see? I think
hoops.
So interestingly, I have hoops. Like tell us hoops.
Sort this. Sort it out.
But interestingly, Sainsbury's renamed their tiger bread.
Why? And to what?
So I remember reading this. This was probably back in like 2016. It was definitely pre-pandemic. Tiger bread is named because of the colouring of, I believe, the colouring of the outside of the bread, because it's that orangey splats, isn't it?
Okay.
And a young girl, I don't know, between the age of 6 or 8, something around that age, wrote to Sainsbury's and said, "Why is it called tiger bread? The pattern on it looks more like a giraffe." And so Sainsbury's, for a month, changed all the labels to, instead of say tiger bread, said giraffe bread. And they posted it on social media and all this kind of thing. And it obviously, gave a lot of attention. But yes, hoops. Why is it called?
I don't know how much more of this sort of nonsense around just stuff like this I can take. Why do you... If it's been called tiger bread ever since it was invented, why change the name? Might be it's nice. It's sweet that you have somebody, little kid, writing and going, "It looks like a giraffe." Fine, in your eyes, it looks like a giraffe. Get over it. It's tiger bread. If you can't use your bloody imagination, nothing personal against the sweet little girl that wrote it to Sainsbury's, but what?
I can see what kind of household your daughter grew up in.
She said, "Oh, Dad, this looks like giraffe bread, I'd say do one. It's tiger bread. I don't give a crap what you think it is. No, it is what it is. Your opinion is just your opinion. It's like belly buttons.
And they're like belly buttons.
Exactly.
Everybody's got one.
Right? Get back in your box.
I think this is probably why Rachel gives you so much abuse.
Yeah, it is.
Nowadays about your fashion sense.
You know what? I'm 80s and I'm proud.
Definitely not.
Yet to see. I was hoping
But
to
you
see you in
can't avoid
linen,
the
by the way. Hashtag linen. White linen.
No, a white linen suit. That
White
was it, wasn't
linen
it?
suit with espadrilles.
Who was that?
That was Don Johnson in Miami Vice.
No. But who was the one that agreed with you?
Oh, I know who it was. Somebody at work.
Was it? Okay, I couldn't remember who it was.
Somebody at work.
You have to remind me of the podcast.
Notice I didn't say the name of the company. Hashtag just saying.
All right, rub it in. God damn it. Can't believe I've done that.
1-0.
I'm gonna.
1-0.
I mean, that's like I've got that Vine in my head now, where it's like where he gets like really old school, gets punched in the face. He just goes, "I can't believe you've done that." That's exactly what I'm gonna. Might have to like get my editing skills up and put that in. So I've got that. I can't believe you've done that. When you did it, it was the Hagrid from Harry Potter. Should not have done that. Should not have done that. Shouldn't have said that. Shouldn't have said that. Rest in peace, Robbie Coltrane.
Yes.
Legend. Yeah, you can't avoid the question though. What's the best bread for sandwiches?
Oh yeah, the question. I just think a really nice white bread, you just can't go wrong. Like a white farmhouse. There you go. White farmhouse. Right? That means it's not going to change. It's not going to be a white bungalow or right or white, 3-bedroom semi or
yeah.
It's a farmhouse. I don't care what it looks like to you. It's a farmhouse.
It's a farm.
Yeah, white farmhouse. I think it's the most versatile.
That's interesting. And are you somebody? This feels a bit like an interview. So I'll give my opinion in a minute, but I'm just curious. I'm genuinely curious, and the reason being is because I've had a little bit of this because I had a long discussion with this person over this, longish. Are you somebody that would have like tomato and lettuce in it, or would you need a bit more of a robust bread? And I asked that as somebody who can't stand mashed potatoes, overripe bananas, soggy bread because it activates my gag reflex. So, like, if it's a nice, soft, like farmhouse, like standard loaf, it's got to be dry ingredients, like some marge, a bit of marge, but then cheese, ham, the bacon, those types of things.
Yeah, if you're going to put lettuce and tomato, or lettuce or tomato in a sandwich, you have to put it in and eat it there and then. Otherwise, what it does is it takes me back to my childhood of going to air shows. And and you'd have like a cheese and tomato sandwich, which is the cheese becomes sweaty.
Yeah.
The cheddar cheese sweats. The tomato basically fuses with the bread. So then you have this stodge of warm cheese and tomato. Tastes great, by the way, but it takes me back to my childhood. And then the only bits of dry bread are the crusts on the outside.
Yeah. Soggy crusts are the worst.
Yeah, that's
soggy crust.
I couldn't eat the soggy crust.
No, that's
wrong.
Terrible.
What about you?
And well, see, to me, it depends on the sandwich, right? If I'm honest. So, like I said, a bacon sandwich to me has got to be like probably farmhouse type thing. Although I did have a wonderful ciabatta bacon sandwich, but it probably was about this. It was probably about this big, and it was proper like thick and fluffy. Like genuinely, you know when you get like a burger and you're like,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. For those listening and that aren't on podcasts, I'm simulating trying to bite a burger that's too big.
So you're
for
dislocating your
mouth.
jaw like a snake.
Yeah,
to
you got
fit
to
it, yeah.
dislocate your jaw.
Nice.
Yeah. But it was lovely. But it's because it was so fluffy, you could squish it, and then they must have put about 26 pieces of bacon in it. It was honestly amazing.
Love it.
The place is called Cookhouse. It's an independent up in Newcastle. Wonderful, wonderful. If it was £9.50 for the bacon sandwich, but
Probably had a whole pack of bacon in it, by the sound of it.
I think it had half a pig
Oh
in
my
it, to
God.
be totally honest.
I like this style.
But if I want to treat myself, then I will generally get, if I'm like, I'm feeling a bit fancy today, I'll get I find things like tiger bread or like a baguette type bread, you can just eat that with just a bit of marge and doesn't really count as a sandwich. Like,
Yeah.
when you used to go to parties and they always have like a cut up like baguette and then you've got like, a bit of marge on the side. So you can take a slice, put a bit of marge on it and just eat that. That is still king of the sandwich types.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. It's got to be really good bread. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When it's the main staple,
yeah.
it's got to be good bread.
Tiger bread.
And then the other bit, which I haven't put in the notes then. So what is your opinion on cheese-topped rolls and other bits of bread?
Well, I like the Italian herb and cheese. So, and I love cheese. So for me, it adds a nice dimension to it. I quite like it, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think cheese generally enhances pretty much anything.
Yeah.
Cheese and bacon, the two big staples.
You can grate cheese on anything and make it taste great.
Anything savoury.
Yeah, savoury.
I wouldn't want it on my ice cream, for example.
No. I'm trying to think, would it go with anything sweet?
Now we're going to get onto like pineapple on sticks. Pineapple and cheese on sticks.
Don't want to go down that route. No. We've killed that. Yeah, savoury. We'll stick to that. You're right.
Yeah.
Love a bit of cheese.
It's all right. It's only because I horrified Hooper because I sent him what I sent you. So there was a Instagram, and instead of pineapple on pizza, somebody has got a pineapple, sliced it in half, and then piled cheese and pepperoni on top of like the top of like the insides of a pineapple, and then cooked it.
Oh, it's horrendous. That literally gave me nightmares. It was horrible. Oh, it's so horrible. It's about 1.5 inches thick. That pineapple wasn't it?
It was half a pineapple. It was just like the pineapple's been sliced in half, and so it was just
no. It's so wrong. It's horrible, Don.
Give you nightmares. Yeah, Hooper came back with a bunch of rude words.
Yeah, I bet.
Then the next bit on this. So this friend of mine, I'm going to use air quotes after this.
I have this friend
believes that the foot, the bit that you'd stand the bread on, to the bottom of the bread, is better than the top of the bread.
I literally do not know what planet they're living on. Is that what it's called? The foot?
So wrong. Well, I don't know, right? But there must be...
The base, the bottom of the bread.
Yeah, the bottom of the bit that's kind of that sort of shape, kind of... I'm trying to think how we would describe it for listeners that are in the car.
So if you're looking at a loaf of bread, end on, the bottom section, so that's where you get the most dense bit of crust.
It's squared. Yeah, it's squared, and it's always like more crumbly, whereas the top's like nice and smooth, and it's like a
cut
and eat like
yeah.
I don't know what the shape is.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell shape. Yeah, you're right. I don't know how you describe that shape. Look, this is my view on it. Cut that little bottom bit off that bread. So when you're making a sandwich, cut the bottom bit off, chuck it in the bin, or give it to the birds, or whatever. But you don't eat it. It's not for ingesting. I don't think actually when they bake the bread, they intend people to eat the base.
It's there to
Yeah,
be
it's
stood
like
on.
biting into an orange whilst the peel is still on. You don't do that. You take the peel off the orange, right? You peel the orange, you eat the segments. You make your sandwich, you cut the base bit off, and you chuck it, you scrape it into the bin.
And then you cut them diagonally.
Tom, steady, careful.
Well, we got sent that Reddit
Yes.
picture, didn't we? Where somebody had cut the sandwich, so they cut it lengthways, but rather than bang on in half, it was kind of a little bit further down, closer to the foot of the bread, and then they'd cut the top one in half down the middle, so you had like almost like thirds, a long third and two like that.
And that cutting it down the middle bit, totally get it.
So you have two sandwiches with good bits of bread,
Yeah.
and then we said that the bottom bit, because you cut away the bottom as well and throw that in the bin, you've effectively got a crustless bottom sandwich, and then two with the good bit of the sandwich.
You got a
on
bottomless sandwich. We could. Do you know what? We could market this. I think it would outsell normal sandwiches. I really do.
What are we gonna? Would we get it like pre-sliced, like pre-cut?
Yeah.
In the thirds.
In the thirds as well.
Because then you could make sandwiches that would. You could have like one sandwich. Because this is the other thing, and I will mention Laura's name. But Laura said that she sometimes gets a slice of bread and then just folds it in half. So instead of having two slices of bread, you've just got like almost like half a sandwich because you're not as hungry for. I mean, I don't think I've ever been not hungry enough to eat two slices of bread. But with the one where you've still got two slices of bread and cut it into thirds, you could have different things on each of the thirds then.
Yes.
If you wanted to mix it up.
You could have one half with cheese, one with ham. One cheese and ham.
Really pushing the boat out here.
I'm just so imaginative. Tuna, I don't know.
Imaginative.
No, folding a slice of bread. Yeah.
So you literally just like take the bread, butter all of it, stick a filling in it, and then just go like that and fold it. So you've got the hidden thing I think about that is you've got the bottom of the bread and the top of the bread together, and then you've got one side which is just folded bread. I'm not sure I could cope with that.
No, and I don't think bread was designed to do that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not happy.
I'm not going to end up with a lot of friends.
I suppose it depends on how you fold it.
I'm just
why go?
All of my friends.
Yeah, but why go origami with bread? What? You might as well just like put some filling on it and then make it into a paper airplane. And see if you can throw it, and then it sort of comes back on itself and then goes,
like a boomerang. I'm not sure we could get away with
Probably
that.
Not. I think
I've just got images of you now taking like stale, mouldy old bread and
trying to make it fly
and chucking it across the cup.
I'm going to. I've got nothing better to do. If I have to do chores around the house if I stay in the house, but at least if I'm outside with my stale bread trying to boomerang it, at least I've got an excuse. What are you doing? Kitchen's a mess. I'm just trying to sort out
experimenting
the boomerang bread. Thank you. I'll be in a minute. Sorry.
Oh no.
I want to be like a kid again, where you just leave the house at like 9 o'clock in the morning and don't come home until 6 when dinner's ready. I just go.
You had a very different childhood to I do, and what's
I just go outside. Where are you going? I'm going out. I'll just have my magnifying glass, just burn things, and just ride around on my bike all day.
Well, it would be more like just make sure you're back in time for tea.
Exactly.
Those types of things.
How old are you? 50. But it doesn't matter. I still like burning ants with my magnifying glass.
Oh no!
No, one of them. Yeah. Actually, I didn't. I never liked doing that. That was cruel. I like burning leaves and paper.
Oh, so you're a pyromaniac.
I am a bit. I do like bonfires and barbecues and stuff.
Oh, interesting. Well, you won't like my next section then. So the next section that we're going to do is, and we've kind of been looking forward to this, is Room 101.
And I cannot wait. And we didn't talk about the rules of engagement, did we? Because are we gonna do the proper rules of engagement, which is you tell me what you want to put into room 101, and basically you have to convince me to agree that it should go into room 101, because that's how the actual room 101 works. Yeah, rather than just saying
that's what I
yeah. Oh, okay, cool. I thought rather than just saying this is going.
Maybe I might have made an ass of you and me, but I just assumed that we were.
No,
that was
fine.
the purpose. I don't think on mine you probably need that much convincing.
Yeah, I think you'll be cool. Yeah, I don't think you'll have any objections to mine either.
You're very excited about this section.
Very. No. You have to. It's your your idea. You have to go first.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll do my first one, the one that kind of brought it up and really made me need to do Room 101. And it is related to sandwiches, so it's actually a reasonably good segue.
It is, yeah. I like that.
So, the thing that I want to put in Room 101, toasters that don't fit bread in them. Like, toasters in general, great, right? Love a bit of toast. I love the fact that you can adjust them. You know, my mum likes it so that it's cremated. My dad likes it so that it's still bread. But, you know, they can choose to have that. And in fact, they've got a toaster that one side is set to one and one side is set to the other. So if you ever want 4 slices, make sure you set them to the same. Otherwise, you end up with very different bread. But what I cannot stand is toasters that don't fit bread in them. And if you get if you get a custom... if you're cutting the bread yourself and you make it too thick and it doesn't fit in, then kind of woe on you. But there are toasters out there that I have experienced that don't fit a standard slice. Like a standard slice from like Tesco's or Asda or any other supermarket brand or any other brand of like bread making places, Warburton's, Hovis, whatever you want, whatever your choice is. They generally are about the same size. There must be a standard sandwich size. And to have a toaster that does not fit that bread in, so that you stick it in and you get the top just doesn't get toasted. And then you have to turn it up. Then you have to turn it around and put it back in. And then the middle bit ends up so cremated that you can't actually bite into it because it just snaps. It just does my Sweden. And the reason it does my Sweden is because a toaster has one purpose: to toast bread. And if it can't do that, what is it doing? And these days you can get toasters that, I've got touch screens you can set to have bagels and bits and pieces like that. And honestly, it's just not difficult. You just make the thing wider and deeper, and you just add a thing that you can do that with it so that the toast pops out, that can spring up so you can grab it. Honestly, a child could design it, and it just annoys me when toasters don't fit bread in. I think
this is why I love Room 101. So,
but I can't think of any reason why you would have a toaster that doesn't fit bread in.
And every toaster I have ever used will only fit 80% of the bread comfortably in the toasty section. So you always have to turn it round. You have to wait until it pops up, and then you have to turn it round and put it back in.
The toaster I have is very good because it's deep enough and it's long enough that you can put the toast in. So if you've got the head of the top of the toast at the top, as if the bread was still stood up, it can go in that way and it does all of it, and it can go sideways and it does all of it. I have a toaster that does
what are you complaining about?
No, I have it, but if I go away and I find a toaster that doesn't have it, so my parents' new toaster doesn't fit toasted.
I'm going to have to... So after this podcast, you're going to have to tell me what toaster that is. I have never seen a toaster or come across a toaster that can comfortably fit bread.
No.
Ever?
No, this one does. Yeah, it does.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow. They're, like I said, not toasters that do fit them in.
Which I didn't think existed. I didn't think that existed.
No, they do exist. Wow. They do exist. Yeah. But so many places, and usually it's cheap toasters that you've really cheaped out on. But I have seen some more expensive ones that don't fit. So you always, when you go away to like a self-catering thing, they've always got that mini little toaster, and you put the bread in, and it's like freaking, not even half of it is cooked. So you turn it upside down, and in the middle of it doesn't end up cremated, it ends up uncooked. Yeah. You're just like,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But the toaster I have does fit the bread in properly and does toast all of the bread.
I'm genuinely shocked and impressed at that fact that you have a toaster that can fit. I have not come across a single toaster. So, which is why when you brought this up, you had me at toaster. I was like, yeah, that's going straight into room 101.
Just toasters in general.
Because they're all crap. They don't toast evenly.
Okay.
I haven't come across a toaster that toasts evenly. Even if it's a 2-slice toaster, you'll never get equal toasting, right?
No, you do. So you do have to be careful because the toast like slots are close to each other. If this toast goes in and you've got nothing in this one, this side of the bread ends up like charcoal, and this side of the bread ends up like as you want it, because you've got like triple heat. So if you put one slice of toast in and you don't put another one here, the one side of the toast always ends up. And it's like, it's 2023. Like, surely we can design a fringing toaster.
So,
like, honestly, it can't be.
So
that
if
difficult.
you just want one slice of toast, you have to sacrifice another slice of bread. So another slice of bread has to give up its
it
life.
Gets toasted. Yeah, so
for the sake of
equally. But you're right. Like 99% of toasters have a design flaw, and honestly, I'm pretty sure that most bread slices are standard size.
Yeah, they are. They are,
and it can't be difficult. What the actual fringe people? Somebody design a good toaster because it has no other purpose.
Hallelujah! And honestly, you don't even have to chuck that into room 101. I'll snatch that toaster out of your hand and take all the toasters and shove it into the furnace of 101.
Oh dear. Yes, absolutely. Right. Joey, I want to hear your context building room 101.
Well, first of all, this is why I'm so excited about room 101. We've got to do this again because I've got a huge list. Okay. So let me just work my way down. So, let's have a look. Which one shall I do? Got Mother Teresa. Really cute puppies. NHS. Oh no, we'll do this one. We'll do the fourth one. So the fourth one is I'm joking about the first two, by the way. Hashtag just say. So context. So here's the context. I take my hat off to people that work in call centers, right? The most thankless, difficult, challenging job. I don't know, genuinely, anyone that works in a call center. I don't know how they do it. Right?
The public's great until the public are there.
Exactly. And yeah, I take my hat off to call center advisors. So this gripe and this rant is aimed at people in senior positions in companies that come up with these ideas and frameworks and implement what they think is an efficient call center, thinking that one, this is a great customer experience, and one, it's also a great colleague experience. Because fringing isn't, right? So,
that's
yeah,
word.
Just the other day, so I phoned an insurance company that shall remain nameless. So it started off with and it doesn't matter if you call it 1:00 in the afternoon, 8:00 in the evening, 7:00 in the morning. Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas Day, if it's the middle of June. It doesn't matter. Oh, I'm so sorry.
All our lines are
really
busy.
Oh, yes, you called us at a particularly busy time. Cough. What are you talking about? It's always busy. Basically, because you've made no investment in call center. So you've probably got 5 people that are that have got to deal with 30,000 inquiries a day. Oh, your call is really important to us. No, it isn't, you little. You're making me wait for 45 minutes. And do you know what? It just makes my blood boil. Anyway, so they make you wait 45 minutes, right? But whilst they're doing that, before they make you wait 45 minutes and tell you, oh, by the way, call waiting times are 45 minutes, you've got 10 minutes of we are regulated by the Financial Services Authority, and we may use your data from time to time. Please let your advisor know if you're not happy about that. We do share data with them. We are underwritten by that. Yeah, all right. Yeah, all right. Do I need to know all of this? Alex, no, I don't. Get on with it. If my call is that important to you, you'd scrub all of that crap. Oh, yeah, and calls are recorded for quality control purposes. Please let the person know if you're not comfortable with that. Oh, God, come on. I do want this to be recorded because I want people to hear my rant. Anyway, and then they say, before we take a call, so this is even before you get to the point where they say, oh, yeah, call waiting times are 45 minutes. They go, can you tell us your date of birth? Please speak after the tone or punch it into your keypad. Okay, do that, right? Followed by the hash key. Okay. Do you know your policy number? If you don't, it's not a problem. You can tell the advisor, but if you do have your policy number, please put it, right, policy number, yeah, put that in. What is your name? Name, okay. Your postcode, right, okay. What is the registration of the car? Put this in, thinking, fucking this, okay. And after an hour of going through all of this BS, you get through to, you know where this is going, don't you? You get through to the person.
Yeah, I know where this is going.
Thank you for calling, I don't know, Acme Insurance Limited. Can I take your name? Right. Are you taking the piss? Are you taking the piss out of me? Yeah. Can I take your policy number?
Exactly what you mean.
Can I take your postcode? Like, okay, stop. Can I just stop you there? I actually did this. Can I just stop you there? Because they said, can I take your name? Because the crazy thing was, when I gave them all the details before I got through, they said, oh, yes, we recognize all the details on your system. We have identified you. So you've identified me. I've gone through validation. The funny thing was, I said, can I just ask, sorry, can I just stop you? Because there's customer services advisor who has to do this, so it's not their fault, right?
Yeah,
this is the fringing director, customer services director that gets paid like 850 grand a year before bonuses, that thinks it's a great idea to make people give all that information, and then you get through and say, yeah, but it's part of company policy. You have to ask them. Oh, can I take your name? Yeah. So they're going through this crib sheet. Can I take your name? I gave my name. Oh, can I take your policy number? Right, can I just stop you there? Happy to give you...
What was the point of me typing
happy to give you my policy number, but why are you asking me my policy number when I've already given you my policy number and you validated that? Oh, yeah, it's for validation purposes.
What do you need to validate? What has changed in the 45 minutes?
You're just validating to me that you are all clowns.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. Like I
breathe.
No. Genuinely, like I was laughing because obviously, you know, with the last 6 months, I've been dealing with insurance companies quite a lot, and that is absolutely what it is. Like I type in my policy number, and then I get to a person, and they go, "Hello, you're through to Acme Insurance. Can I take your policy number, please?" I'm like, I've typed it in. Like, can you not see it? Like, I don't mind if you go, I put your policy number details up. Can I do a security check? What's your postcode? Oh, yeah, of course, I can do that. Like, that would be fine. But the problem is 9 times out of 10, I've gone, you know, you're on the phone and it goes, right, you need your policy number. Oh, yeah. I need to go and dig out that email, right? Right, okay. Right, and then they close the email. And then they go, can I have your policy number? And you go, oh, bother it. You've got to go and look for it again. Right. And it's not like it's a number that, you know, that's like,
yeah, you're not going to remember that.
It's normally 97 characters. Oh,
I tell you what, that's on the money there. Yes. You don't need convincing.
Yeah. No, I don't need convincing. I would not mind if it's similar to toasters. Like, toasters are great if they do what their function is to do. ask me for my policy number during but also like make it very clear, like as soon as I start the call and as soon as I'm connected, you know that I want to go through an agent. So don't pause putting me through an agent while I'm doing this, because I bet you all of them do. They pause while you're, start putting me through the agent. I would rather be interrupted than the agent go, "Oh, you haven't had time to type your policy number in. Can you tell me what it is?" Because I'd be like, "Yes, that's fine," because I found the email and I was halfway through typing it. That would be
like
great.
it. Never thought of that. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. That's also assuming that the robotic bit at the beginning lets you get through to an agent. If you've got a query with X, please press 1. If you've got a query with X, please press 2. If you've got a query, this can be done on our website. Please visit it at www.acmeinsurance.co.uk. Right? Bearing in mind that I've normally tried to do that, and I have before gone to the website and it's been busted. And it's like, it doesn't work. And there's been times where I've got lost in robot things. I'm just, let me speak to somebody,
you get into what I call the infinite inception / matrix loop, which is press 1 for this, press 2 for this, press 3. You get to you're going, those aren't really quite the options. Press 10 for this, press 11. You're like, oh, press 12 to speak to
press 11 on the keyboard.
I don't know. Press 57
to
speak to a customer service representative, which you do, and then they go, "Oh, sorry, you need to go back to the main menu. You've gone through the wrong. I can't help you. No, don't do it."
Oh yeah, don't get me started, because I've got through to the Acme Insurance switchboard, right, and they've gone, "Oh yeah, you need to speak to this department. They don't work on this day, despite the fact that their website advertises that they're open from this. You need to phone back on Monday."
I love this.
So what's interesting, I'm looking at my other 2 Room 101 elements, and I can kind of bring them all together in a thing, and it's basically things not doing their job.
Okay.
So I mentioned about toasters not toasting bread, not doing their job. My second one, which does my Sweden. It does my Sweden. Right. So we've done call centers like that. That taking your policy number does not do its job, or doesn't do anything other, unless its job is to irritate the piss out of me. Then ding, ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, we have success. As well as including the fact that I've had to listen to the same damn song. I just put something different other than the same song. And you don't need to tell me every 30 seconds, your call is really important to us. We appreciate you hanging on the line. I appreciate, or thank you for your patience. I'm running out of it.
I ran out of patience a minute into this.
But the other bit that I like, there's a company that doesn't do their task. They've got one purpose. Okay. And Jerry, you know the company, right? And then the other thing, the lovely and wonderful Royal Mail.
Oh, no.
The lovely and wonderful Royal Mail have a purpose. Is to deliver post. And what do they not do to me? Deliver post! I'm not going to go too far into that. But the one that's got to me in the kitchen, the other thing that's got me to the kitchen, is the lids on like chicken and things like that.
Oh, like...
I don't know if you're there, Jerry. You've disappeared.
No, because I'm thinking, hang about. So you're talking about like when you buy a pack of chicken.
Yeah, so you've got the plastic tray.
Yeah.
And you got that film on top. And every time you go to take the film off, it doesn't. It just cuts the edge off and it's still stuck.
Yes, you get loads of little slivers.
You can't get to chicken.
That are still clinging onto the edge going...
Oh, not even that.
You're not going to peel me.
Just yeah, there's the tab. There's a tab comes off, or like a side of it comes off.
I've done it where it then looks like
and
teeth. Like you manage to grab the tab and you pull it, but only little slivers peel off. There's loads of slivers that still hang on. Yeah. They're going, nah, we're still hanging on.
Or you get that on yogurts as well.
I don't think...
Where you peel the lid of a yogurt and only half of it comes off.
I've never had that.
Yeah, I've had that, but you tend to get it on yogurts that have like a corner that's got like yogurt on one side.
Oh,
and then I don't know.
Okay.
Like apricot jam or like chocolate
Yes.
sprinkles, like because it's got a seam down the middle, sometimes it just rips it and you end up with like straggles across your yogurt and you're trying to eat it and then you stick it in your mouth and you get the straggles with it and it's like, for fuck's sake.
Well,
Like it's got one purpose as a lid to protect my food and then come off easily. And it does do the latter ever.
what about, so if we're on the subject of packaging, what about those things which are sealed and they're sealed in one bit of molded plastic? And
Oh, do you mean what Sainsbury's are currently doing with mincemeat now?
oh no, I'm talking about, like, for example, if you need to get I don't know, it could be like a pair of scissors.
Oh yeah,
Or,
you get a pair of scissors in blister packaging.
yeah.
You need a pair of scissors to get into the blister packaging for the pair of
You
scissors.
need a rocket launcher or a pneumatic drill. You need an A10 tank buster. You have to fly past and go just to get the damn thing open. You need.
Interestingly, rocket launcher is the only word I know in Dutch.
Oh, what is it in Dutch?
Raketwerper.
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 You need the gun from, and I'm sorry I'm going to have to bring this up, Dom, but I'm going to have to bring it up. And you're going to cringe.
Oh, you're going to have to bring it up. Oh,
the gun from Predator. And you still haven't seen Predator,
seen
Dom. It's almost May. And you still haven't seen Predator. But anyway, you need to see Predator.
I do have a movie database of stuff that I need to watch.
Yeah, Predator.
That needs to be added to. This is going off a little bit on challenge.
It is a bit.
Predator is on there. Release date of Predator. Do you know when that was?
89.
Not quite. 1st of January 1988.
Oh god, it's not okay.
88. Pretty good. Yeah, no, that
sorry.
But yes, blister packaging.
Yeah, but sorry, going back to your point, chicken packaging. Yeah.
Yes. So, I could rant about chicken packaging for like years because you either get the one with the plastic tray and that plastic film where you go to peel it off and the edge just comes off, or it goes straggly and you still have to get a knife and cut
that's the one,
or a pair of scissors or whatever. Or they're doing bags now, like plastic bags. The best comparison is the packaging that you get like M&Ms in.
Oh yeah,
or
yeah,
like
really
that you get at the cinema. Those, you can Asda do them a bit like that. The only problem with them, right? They work quite well because they've got a rip top and it does quite often just rip off. If you rip it wrong, you can rip it off and it's not opening, but you can just cut it off, right? But the problem is to recycle. I'm a big fan of I do care about the environment, despite the fact that I'm sat here with a gaming PC and 2 bright lights on to make me look good. But I like to try and recycle as much as possible. But those plastic bags, they can only be recycled by taking them back to the supermarket.
Oh come on!
Who is going to do that? None of us are, because we haven't got time for that. Like the world is hard enough. I don't have time. I don't have time to go to the gym, eat healthily, do work for 8 hours, he says. Normally I end up doing way more than that. Have a social life, and sleep for 8 hours, and take my recycling packaging to the flipping local supermarket rather than put it in my recycle box, which already irritates me enough because the council where I live insist on having separate boxes for everything, and they don't have lids on them. So when you stick them out and it's a windy day, all the crap blows down the thing. Where my parents live, they just have a recycling bin. Right, it's another wheelie bin.
And you can put everything in there.
Blue lidded one, and you can put because you can put your glass, your plastics.
Oh, that's good.
Your cardboard. All of it, the really metals, cans, all of it just goes in. So instead of having 2 separate boxes for them, which I currently have, all of them just go in this bin, and it's a wheelie bin. So there's a lid on it, and because everything goes in, it's normally heavy enough that it doesn't get blown down. that would encourage me to do even more than I already do, recycle, because it's easy to do.
That is really, really good. Oh, God. I'm here all week. No, that's a brilliant.
Here all week.
That would encourage. Do you know what? If you had, I actually genuinely think that's a fantastic idea because it would encourage people to recycle more. Because it's so easy. Because you just open
absolutely.
the lid and just go, yeah, I don't care if it's a can, bottle, whatever.
So,
just chuck it
so
in.
In my flat, I have like 3 totes, which I can put my recycling in. So I've got like, and then I've literally got like labels that say this is, this is metal and plastic, then cardboard, then glass. And I take those totes down because I live in a flat, so I've got to take it round to my section, which is 500 meters away because the person who designed this building was an idiot.
Probably the same person who designed call centers.
I'm in full
yes,
kind of
good.
like
it's cathartic.
As you look at the building, the door, my flat is on the right-hand door. So why is my car park on the left-hand side of the building and not on the right-hand side of the building? I just don't understand it. Like, honestly, I can't fathom that. But yeah, like I then take those totes down and empty them into the individual boxes, and then I pile the individual boxes on the side of the road, in the main road through the centre of the town that I live in, and pray that it doesn't blow 3/4 of the way down a mile if it's windy. Now, it's okay at the moment as we get into summer, but...
Summer, air quotes.
No, I'm looking forward to our 47 degrees.
Yeah, it's always nice to go from rain and like single-digit temperatures to overnight going to 45, blistering, unbearable heat, then back to single figures again, and winds, high winds and rain. Yeah, it's great. Love it. The weather here is just the best. I can't get enough of it.
But I think the main bit on Room 101 there is anything that makes life inconvenient or just doesn't do the single job that it's purpose to do. Royal Mail.
Completely sold. I'm completely sold on it. Yep. I will help you carry it into Room 101.
Happily help you carry it into Room 101.
One job. Yeah, one job. One job.
Oh dear. Have you got anything else that you want to put in Room 101?
I do.
I've had a couple now, so I want to get your next one.
My one is... So I'm only doing 2 today, so this is my second one. So let me just look down this. So, sorry, Mother Teresa, NHS, really cute puppies, done call centres. Right, so the other one that I've got written down. So I've got a friend of mine, dear friend of mine, who, and we've talked about this on numerous occasions. They know who they are. They will know who they are as soon as I say this. So, it's unnecessarily detailed and laboriously drawn out sex scenes in either a film or a TV series that adds nothing to the plot. Nothing. And actually, quite frankly, it's just embarrassing. Now, if I wanted to become an actor, I actually wouldn't, if in this day and age I thought, oh, do you know what? Suddenly want to go into acting, I wouldn't do it. Well, no one would let me be an actor anyway. One, because you have to remember lines, so that goes right out the window for a start. 2, I've got the right face for radio, so it's not going to happen.
No, what? That's rubbish. I will not have that. You could be Keanu Reeves' good-looking stunt double.
But I'm not. But either way, so I wouldn't become an actor because it doesn't matter what I watch these days. It's always got this unnecessary, long drawn out sex scene. It's just embarrassing, and there's no need for it. Why are you doing it? So, if you've got 2 people that are attracted to each other in this program or this film or whatever, show them kissing and then just move on. You don't have to show 10 minutes of them fumbling around and throwing each other across a bed. And I mean, it's just embarrassing. You just sit there going, all right, yeah, okay, cool. Get the message. Let's move on.
Does your friend agree with you? Or
no, 100% in agreement. It's just and it actually makes me cross, angry every single time, guaranteed.
I agree with you in that as long as it doesn't add to the story. So things like Game of Thrones, for example, there are elements of those scenes that
Really?
there are some scenes in there. There are some scenes that are just ridiculous, but there are some scenes that do add to it. So, for example, that add like connotations to it. So, for example, trigger warning, but and spoiler warning,
Yeah.
I suppose. That in season 1, when Daenerys Targaryen is with Khal Drogo and he rapes her, there is a bit of context behind it. Like it didn't need to be like 15 minutes. It could be like significantly cut down. So I agree with you on that point. But there are certain, I see what you mean by like non-enhancing ones. If it's got no relevance to it and we don't need to see it, then to a certain, like I agree. Like I don't need to see that. I want to watch a film.
Yeah,
that
it's like they do it for shock value, or they do it to sort of like, oh, if we make this an overly long, spicy scene, it's going to keep people watching because they're going to think, oh, I wonder if there's going to be another scene like this coming. I don't know if that's what's going through their minds.
I agree, and I would extend that a little bit further to violence as well.
Okay.
So in the sense of, for example, I've watched the whole of Game of Thrones, really enjoyed it apart from the last probably
season.
I mean,
season.
I look at it and I go, it wasn't as bad as everyone kind of made out to be. I think, but it wasn't done well.
You're too kind.
I am too kind, but I did enjoy it. There were bits of it that I really enjoyed and it kept me really hooked because I just didn't know what was going to happen next. But I've watched a few episodes. I've not finished the season of House of the Dragon, the prequel. And there are moments of that where I'm just like, but the violence here is just not necessary for the dramatic effect of the story.
Yeah.
It's just
I didn't even think about that aspect of it, but you're right. It's the same thing, I suppose.
Yeah. And they're trying to invoke that shock value, but the shock value in the violence of Game of Thrones was the suddenness. Right, so again, spoiler warning if you've not seen it, the Red Wedding episode. Like, I had not a Scooby-Doo that was going to happen, and suddenly, like, half of them all chopped down. I'm like, oh my god, what's going to happen next? But when they've got the violence in a tournament, like they've got a tourney in the House of the Dragon, and it's like, I don't need to see the violence because I know that there's going to be violence because it's a tournament.
Yeah.
And that's why I agree with you. If it adds nothing to the if you took it away and it added nothing to the television show, then I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. There will be people that will disagree with us and say they like the shock value, but I am someone that doesn't like horror films and I don't do gruesome stuff.
Yeah.
So I think like
I don't like horror films either.
I don't need I don't do the shock value of things. I don't think that's
yeah, but wait one
second.
Okay, so
I think the storyline.
Okay, actually, you've just touched on a really good point there. So if you get gratuitous violence in a horror film, well, yeah, so be it. It's a horror film. You know what you're walking into because it's a horror film. So if you go, oh, this is, but it's a horror film. Well, what did you expect?
Yes.
If you surf the internet and go on and find some pornographic streaming site and you go on there and go, oh, this is a bit much. Everyone's having sex. You're on a streaming site, bro. What do you think is going to happen?
Yes.
For me, it's the whole. So I watched a film, actually, which I are we allowed to say films? Just
yeah, we can do it. We're allowed to public opinion. I've already mentioned Game of Thrones.
So this film, I love this film,
and the company
we work for. Which you're gonna have to bleep it. 1-1.
We'll have to do best football chants at some point.
So, The House of Gucci is a brilliant film. I love that film. The acting in it was amazing.
Oh, that's with
Lady Gaga.
That's got Lady Gaga.
And
yes.
Jared Leto. And other actors and actresses in it. They're just brilliant.
Jared Leto as an actor is weird to me because I knew Jared Leto first as the front man for 30 Seconds to Mars. Which I adore, which I love as a band, and then whenever I see him act, I just can't quite it out. It's like whenever you've seen the Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. By the way, did you know that? Here's a fact: 30 Seconds to Mars. It was initially 32 and a half seconds, and then they rounded it down. But you didn't know that. But brilliant
didn't know
film
that.
based on a true story as well,
Mm.
right? The acting, the cinematography, everything in it was amazing. But they had this one scene. Oh, Adam, thank
Adam
you.
Driver plays
Yes,
Kylo
right.
Ren.
He's
from Star Wars
such a good
films.
actor. Lady
very
Gaga's
good.
just amazing. She is amazing in that. Jared Leto, he's just annoyingly talented. He's just good at everything he does. It wouldn't even surprise me if he's like an absolutely brilliant painter as well. There's literally nothing that guy can't do. Yeah.
Well, Jared Leto, he has got some terrible movies. I'll tell you
Oh,
what
okay.
terrible movie
Well,
he's been in.
he
in a
was
bit.
brilliant
Yeah.
in this, right? And then there was this one scene where Adam Driver and Lady Gaga, it's a point where things change, in their relationship, and they start to, things start to develop. And they had this scene that just went on for like 5 minutes. And you're just sitting there going, yeah, I get the message. Right? They like each other.
Yes.
So what? Why do you have to show all of this? And actually, you know what really does wind me up as well? I'm going to just cheese slice this into the Room 101, if I can. It's in these scenes when things get heated and they sweep everything off a desk. And I think my OCD kicks in, because then I think, you know what? That was a really thing to do. Because now who's going to come and tidy that up? Right?
Yeah.
Who's going to pick up all these staplers and all these sheets of paper? Now everything's out of order. You had everything in chronological order that you needed to sort out, like your car insurance, house insurance, all that. Now it's all strewn all over the floor. Well done.
So I mean, I agree, and also I always find that those scenes, they end up being too perfect.
Oh yeah, there's that as well. Yeah, there's that as well. So there's so many aspects to this. It's got to go into Room 101.
Yeah. No, I don't
excellent.
disagree. Interesting movie fact for you. Have you seen The Grinch with Jim Carrey?
Yes, a long time ago.
Yeah, very good film. You know when he pulls the tablecloth off from the thing, and everything stays up, and then he goes and knocks it over. Well, that's because the actual scene was for him to pull the tablecloth and for everything to fall over.
He did it.
He did it perfect. And Jim Carrey, being Jim Carrey, kind of came along and just knocked it all off, and they went, "Well, that's the best take."
Oh, that's brilliant! I didn't know that. That's fantastic.
That's my interesting fact about The Grinch. It's a great film. I think Jim Carrey is one of the. I think comedic actors, so Jim Carrey, Robin Williams, those two especially, they just have this. I can't think of his name. Oh God, what's his name? He plays Mr. Bean.
Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson. Yes, he's another one. They have this ability to make a scene funny, naturally, and this ability to just enhance a general movie in some way, shape, or form. So
I agree.
Yeah, I'm absolutely but those types of things. I'm going to flip it on the head now. So we've done Room 101, and I didn't want this. We get quite ranty, and I think that's a good thing. Because we want to. I use this as an opportunity to improve the world. Royal Mail, please just deliver my post. It can't be that difficult. I don't know what you'd call this. Like the opposite of Room 101. Things that are unexpectedly just amazing. Whether you call it Room 201, 102, whatever. But because there are things that are really, really good. There are things that are good, but they're expectedly good. A bacon sandwich. Winning the lottery, right? Those are but things that are unexpectedly good. And I've got an example to let you have a think about. So for me, clean bed sheets. Fresh bed sheets. The first time you get into a bed that's just been you've put the new bed sheets on, so clean duvet cover, clean fitted sheet, clean pillowcases, all of that. The first time you get into a bed like that, there's very little that beats that. Just that initial time, and that first night is just. Oh, chef's kiss. It's wonderful. And that's the type of thing. It's an unexpectedly really good thing. And I know that Samwise is definitely one of those people. I've said it before. I always message Samwise. I know I messaged you about this, but just clean bed sheets. They're just, there's something about it. You just think, yes, this is the life. If I could afford it, I'd have clean bed sheets every night. Honestly.
You never use the same set of bed sheets twice in a row. Change them every day.
Not in a row.
Every day.
Just change them every day. Just every day. Yeah. So you always have fresh bed sheets. You'd need about 5 pairs because that's about how long it takes.
Okay, so you're convincing me
get
that
dry.
needs to go into room 10. We'll call it 102.
Oh, no.
Yeah, 102.
Yeah, we'll call it 102,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. You sleep better as well, don't you? I think.
Yeah, there's just something about it.
Nice. Clean bed sheets are lovely.
Clean
Yeah.
bed sheets are the bee's
Although-
knees. Absolutely. By the way, that's a weird phrase. The bee's knees. Why does the bee's knees represent something that's good? That needs to be good in idioms. I'm writing that down.
The bee's knees. Although,
Sorry, that was a sudden outburst. So why did I say that?
can I take your room 102 and take one aspect of your
Yes.
room 102 and chuck it into room 101, which is
Oh, no.
trying to get a duvet cover over a duvet, right?
I have a tactic.
Because nobody's Stretch Armstrong apart from Stretch Armstrong.
Honestly, it's easy. Absolutely easy.
Go on then.
I've got it nailed. I've got that nailed. So lay your duvet, the duvet itself on the bed, and get the cover, and then stick your arms, turn the cover inside out, stick your arms inside of it. So you kind of got so you're at the corner, so you've got the hole here, and then through the corners with your arms inside, grab the corners of the duvet, and then just kind of flip it the right way round, so that as it turns itself the right way from being inside out, it does it over the duvet cover. So you literally just pick it up and then shake it, and it normally ends up about 3/4 of the way down. You kind of stuff the other 2 corners and you pick them up and shake it up and the way down. I like to point out that probably works for me because despite having a king size duvet, I am also 6'3" and I have arms
You are
that
Stretch
span
Armstrong.
of 6'3", so I can hold a duvet cover up and shake it. I would imagine that some of our listeners are probably going, yeah, but I can't do that.
If I tried to do that, you know what would happen? I'd end up falling into the
drown.
duvet. It then will go over me, seal itself up, and then it'll be like, "Where's Jerry on Monday? I can't.
Nom, 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 nom.
Help! I can hear something. It's muffled. Help! Where the hell is he? It's coming from the bedroom. Help!" And I'm stuck. It's swallowed up by the duvet. Okay. I'm going to try that next time. Although my arms are still not long enough.
Honest.
So I don't know how I'm going to do this, but fine, I'll give it a go.
Well, you can obviously have the duvet crinkled that way. If it's the length, you stand on the bed and then you hang it off the edge.
Okay, I'll try it.
For those that have not met me or Jerry in person, I'm 6'3". You're
I'm
6
4.
foot.
6 foot?
Oh,
my
sorry,
God.
5
Yeah,
foot.
no, sorry. No, you were right first time. I'm
I can hear your wife.
yeah,
going,
I'm
"Bullshit."
about 6'1" on a bad day. No, I'm 5'9".
Yeah, 5'9". Yeah. So I do tough. Yeah. And I have a few friends that are in. Well, I have a friend who's not even in the 5 foot club. So, yes, but she's the scariest person I know. So it's okay.
Yeah, wait, no spoiler alerts for no spoiler alerts for future podcasts. I've just got that in my just I've got that filed away. I'll keep that for when they're on.
So, have you got anything to go in room 102? I have.
Yeah, you
sprung
have.
This
is a bit of a curveball. See, I'm old and naturally grumpy, so I'm going to have to put a lot more thought into room 102 than room 101.
Something for the next.
So
podcast,
room 102, I think. Yeah, maybe something for the next podcast. Something So you're saying unexpected. Yeah,
Unexpectedly
I'm going to have
good.
to come back to you, Dom. I'm not going to. What I'm not going to do is keep everybody on this podcast for 45 minutes going, "Thank you for your patience with room 102. It is your participation is really important to us." You've just caught Jerry at a particularly slow time. But your participation is really important to us.
Yeah.
I'll come back to you on that. Room 102. Okay.
Cool. Right, we're going to do a section we haven't done for ages. Interesting facts. So, for those that have not heard this segment before, I have gone and found a bunch of interesting facts. I've had these interesting facts around since December because they were supposed to be read to Yevgeny for the January podcast, and we never got to them, and then we never got to them for the last two because we talked too much. So we put this on a little bit early because if we don't get to the other sections of the podcast, we wanted to do interesting facts. And purely the idea is to bring up, I mention it, and then we get Jerry's live reaction, and we discuss it a little bit, and we decide whether it was an interesting fact or not. So, interesting fact number one. How many
We've already done one, which is the Grinch.
1, 2, 3. I've got 10 today.
I was going to go 7, 4.
But
1,
you had the
8.
bonus.
Yeah, we had a bonus.
Don't do that to me. So, interesting fact number one. A woman's brain shrinks during pregnancy. Now, I'd like to point out that doesn't mean that necessarily they lose intelligence. It's just that their brain shrinks.
Why?
Something
physiologically. Why would your body do that?
Yeah. I mean, the body is going through quite a traumatic change, I'd imagine, Jerry.
Yeah,
we're not the ones really to talk about pregnancy.
No, I honestly genuinely fascinated by that because I am fascinated by why. I mean, there's got to be a reason why your body does that. I'm going to have to. So, unless you're going to tell us, you've actually
I've got an article
okay.
to I've got some articles. So it doesn't explicitly say, like so they like to point out it doesn't affect cognitive abilities. Sorry, like knowledge-based abilities, but it's one of the reasons why you get like a little bit more. Maybe I call them brain farts as you're pregnant, as well as on top of the fact that you're usually quite tired because you're doing significantly more
body's
stuff.
having to deal with cope with so much. Yeah.
Praise to all women. You were all legends that you have to go through this and go through that. Absolutely. I'm very glad.
Women are legends, actually, to be fair. We've bloody got it easy.
Totally.
Jeez.
Absolutely. But they studied this in rats first, and actually what tends to happen with the shrinking of the brain is it encourages female rats to get more food. Because it's almost like the brain's being starved, and it's like almost like a panicked response to the brain being starved. And obviously, if you're pregnant, you need more nutrients to ensure that you're, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, yeah, like with the women's brains, like they then did the study in humans. It isn't a very big study group. I think they did 70 men without children, 20 women without children. And 20 hang on, I'm just trying to find the numbers now. I should have read this a little bit more details.
Is this like those shampoo commercials where they go 84% of people agree, and then survey included like 4 people, and you're going, hang about, you need a bigger proportion of the population than that.
Yeah. So
okay.
Yeah, it's not a very big proportion, but they did do scans like 2 years later and of those 11 women hadn't had another child, and it hadn't recovered, apart from in the hippocampus, which is the region associated with memory. So when you're pregnant, that women lose a little bit of their hippocampus area, which is generally associated with memory, and then it goes forwards. But yeah, it's just they just shrink during pregnancy. That was my interesting fact of the day. There's a lot of science.
Totally. Okay.
There you go. Those are my first interesting fact. I don't know how to do it. I didn't want to offend anybody. I was really trying to sort of. I've been tiptoeing around a little bit on some of it, but it's that was just my first fact. Fact number 2. A man was cured of deafness and blindness after being struck by lightning.
What?
Yeah.
How's that even possible?
So 1980, a 62-year-old man blinded in a traumatic accident regained his sight after he was struck by lightning near his home. Doctors confirmed that Edwin Ian Robinson, a former truck driver, could see for the first time since he became blind as a result of a highway accident 9 years ago. He was knocked to the ground by the lightning when he took shelter beneath a tree.
Yeah.
Don't do this, folks. If there's a lightning storm around you, you lie on the ground away from any tall objects. In Portland, it sounded like someone snapped a whip. The next thing I knew, I came to face down in the water at the foot of a tree. His wife said he was unconscious for 20 minutes. He returned to his bedroom for a nap. And the lightning also broke his hearing aid. When I got up in the evening, I was sitting in the chair in the front room. I could see the plaque on the wall and I could see the clock, but the clock kept fading in and out. His sight isn't completely restored, but he can see straight in front of him, which he hasn't been able to do in 9 years. So yeah, struck by lightning.
You wouldn't have seen my expression, but I was trying to keep it together. Because what makes me laugh about that story is he's struck by lightning, so he's probably had anywhere between 30 and 50,000 volts go through him. And by the way, it's the amps that get you, not the volts. So he's had the 30 to 50,000 volts go through him. He's been unconscious for 20 minutes, face down in a puddle by a tree. Wife comes along and goes, "Why don't you go take a nap, dear?" I've been struck by lightning. Do you think I should go to the hospital?
Yeah.
No. Take a nap. I'll put the kettle on, have a nice cup of tea, and have a nap.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do. If I got struck by lightning, I'd think, yeah, do you know what? I need a nap.
That's usually what they tell you not to do in those types of situations, isn't it? When you've had a really traumatic experience, if you go,
I'm tired,
I want to
don't
go to
sleep.
They're like, don't do that because you won't wake up.
But he goes,
You know, they always...
I know what happened there. The wife was trying to off him. Don't you think No, have a nap. Yeah, but are you sure? No, have a nap.
Oh, okay.
Just sleep. Just sleep.
Yeah,
You'll be fine. You'll feel much better after a nap. Okay.
Yeah. But, they don't actually know the reason. Interestingly, the extra bonus thing he got from being struck by lightning, apparently it also cured his baldness. So his hair started growing back on his head.
Okay, I thought you were going to say like you got a huge
Absolutely
salon.
no
or
idea
something.
how that works.
Okay.
Oh, dear. Speaking of which, you are actually... Interesting fact number 3, you are actually you have more chance of being struck by lightning than being attacked by a bear.
Unless you're the bear whisperer.
You're the bear whisperer. I mean, these facts are I find those facts quite weird, where it's like you've got more chance of doing X and Y and Z, but I'm surely that depends on the circumstances.
It does. If you
Right, if you work in a zoo, you're more likely to be mauled by a bear than you are to be...
Or if you live in Canada.
Lightning. If you...
Versus...
Yeah, exactly. Or, you work on the top of pylons in northern Canada or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
But the average odds for being struck by lightning is... What do you reckon?
I think it's going to be surprising odds. So I'm going to go for something like 1 in 500,000.
Oh, 1 in 300,000.
Bring it on.
Chances of being attacked by a bear?
I think it's over 1 million. Yeah, one in 1.3 million.
No, 1 in 2.1 million.
Whoa. Okay.
And what's more dangerous than both of them? And I've already mentioned the animal today. The tiny one.
Virus.
No,
Cold.
not quite that tiny.
Bacteria.
No.
Rat. Mouse.
No, before that. Little insect.
Mosquito. Bee.
Yeah, you're more likely to die from a
This is
bee
what I mean
than you
about
are
my
to,
memory.
be
You
struck
said
by
about bees'
lightning.
knees. Do you think
Yeah.
I can dig that up from my
Yeah.
memory? This is what I mean. It's like an exam situation, right? People listening to this must be thinking,
I felt really grew. I could hear, for those watching, you could see the panic in his eyes. It's like, what am I
Cogs,
doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing?
like going back through the reel.
Yes.
I don't have the file. I don't have the file. I can't play this back. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, bees.
You've got to
Yeah,
send me the file.
I need the file before you ask me a question like that. Okay, so bees.
Dear.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Bees are dangerous.
Anaphylactic shock. All right,
Yeah.
okay.
Number 4, I think this is. Yeah. If you keep going north, you will eventually go south.
Well, yeah, that's like having an argument with flat earthers and saying, "Do you know what? I'll go to the ends of the earth
No.
to prove you wrong." And then I think, "Oh yeah, they'll come around eventually."
Do you know what? I heard the best argument for somebody that convinced a flat earther that the earth wasn't flat. Do you know how they did that? So they said to the flat earther, they said, the earth isn't flat because if it was, by now, the government would have found a way to market it and sell it to us.
Oh.
His opinion was so low of the government and of capital greed that he changed his opinion on it being a flat earth because he went, no,
Yeah.
you're right. That was the argument that
Love
convinced him the other way. And then my favorite videos are flat earthers trying to prove that the earth is flat and then doing the experiments and it's proven that the earth is obviously
I've seen a video of a pilot who's a flat earther, an airline pilot. It does beg questions. If you sort of think, do I really want this person in charge of this aircraft? How about no?
I got no, I do not. How about no? Because planes don't fly across the earth just like that.
Yeah,
That makes sense. Sometimes they go like that around the earth because of the way that, obviously, because of wind and other currents and.
it's like these interesting facts. It's like, for example, when you're high enough and you reach that point of weightlessness, it's because you're in perpetual freefall. People don't realise that you are in perpetual freefall,
and you can simulate that by diving a plane downwards at a specific speed, and that's how they simulate anti-gravity things. And why you only get, I think you get something like 6 minutes from the highest recorded point.
As much as that, really?
Wow. Yes, okay. It can be something like that. I'm not 100% sure. But interestingly, my bonus fact about the Earth, which I found out the other day, if the Earth was the size of a bowling ball, it would be, and it had all the mountains and stuff like that, it would be smoother than the bowling ball.
No way.
Everyone thinks the Earth would be really roughed, but when you think about it, the deepest point on Earth is the Mariana Trench. Yeah, which is 9 miles, I think. And then the highest point is
Everest.
Mount Everest. Yeah, which is something like, I think it's 6 miles or something like that. I could be completely off with those numbers, but then the Earth like circumference is so big in comparison to that if the Earth was shrunk to a bowling ball, it would be smoother than a bowling ball because despite the undulations in the Earth's crust.
I had no idea.
Wow. That was a wow. Definitely. Fact number 5, which I knew before I found this, this fact was actually given. There was a Japanese soldier found 29 years after World War II had ended, and he didn't know that he'd ended.
I knew that.
His name was Hiro Inoda, and he was out in the Philippines, and basically the Emperor Shiwara in 1974 basically said to him, 1974, that's really late. No, the Emperor at the time basically said, no surrender. And the Japanese were quite, in their beliefs with the samurai and bits and pieces like that. So he didn't. landed on the on the island, and every attempt wants the every attempt that they took to try and bring him back home, dropping leaflets, sending people out there and stuff like that. He didn't believe them. He thought it was somebody making up. So yeah, he ended up being in the forest of the Philippine Islands for like 29 years. He was found by a go-getter, and I can never remember his name from the book, but it was found. And do you know, because people couldn't find him, like they were guerrilla warfare type people, so they were hidden, and he was found by this person that just went in and was and just yelled his name, just like trying to find him. Fellow Japanese person that said that they wanted to go and find the
Sasquatch.
That was it.
Sasquatch.
This person was a bit of a hippie for that thing. And the reason I know it is from a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
Okay.
And it goes on to explain that Hiro Onoda was happier fighting for his belief in the Philippine jungle than when he was back in modern day Japan, 1974 Japan. Because he felt like Japan had become like westernized and things like that. And he felt that it was, he didn't feel comfortable. And the book kind of uses it as an example to kind of say, hey, if you believe in something, if you're willing to suffer for something, you can still be happy, even if to other people it looks mental.
Now that aspect of that I didn't know. So I knew the base story, which is that this person had basically dug in for 29 years and didn't realise. But yeah, that's really interesting. And I suppose that would have been quite... I mean, they should make a documentary about that. That'd be quite interesting. To take somebody that goes back to Tokyo. Can you imagine? 29 years later, they'd be like, what the actual fringe? Yeah. There's so much change. It's almost like they've been freeze-dried for 29 years and then just brought... You might as well just, have been cryogenically frozen for 29 years and then taken back to a city that would have changed literally beyond recognition. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it would have been, and he said that, that they sort of said it's not so much like the how to call it, not so much the like the technology and stuff like you would have got used to, but he sort of said it was all around the like the way people's attitudes, right? It's the standard thing. Like everybody sort of goes, "Oh, the young don't want to work anymore," which I watched a video the other day, and they went back to 1886, and there was the same phrase: "The young no longer want to work. The young no longer want to work." It's the same phrase the whole way through. But beside that, he, that was his belief that they'd forgotten the principles of being Japanese. They'd forgotten those like stuff in like 1945, and difference from 1945 to 1974 is a big difference. Huge. But yeah, he was the lone survivor. Well, the last three of them, the third person, the first person, he actually just left and went. The second person died, and Hiro Onoda ended up being
incredible,
the only survivor. Interesting. Right, so we'll go back onto like tigers.
Bread.
Tigers have false eyes on the back of their ears.
Okay. I get why. I get why, but I had no idea.
Yeah, if you look at the back of a tiger's ears, it's quite patterned into like eye shaped. And it's exactly to deter other predators from attacking the tiger because it thinks that it's actually still looking at them.
So in the tiger world, where you've got like all the little tiger cubs going, "Oh, mum, look at me, look what I'm doing. I haven't got eyes in the back of my head." Well, I kind of have. I have, but I haven't. But you know what I mean. Stop badgering me. Badgers.
That is genius. That was a genius one.
The reason why I went badgers is because I imagine they'd quite like to eat badgers, wouldn't they? Be quite a nice meal for a tiger.
Badgers.
The chances of a
Probably. I
tiger
don't think
coming
they're
across a badger.
I don't think
No,
they're
they're
native to
not.
the same country.
But if you had
though,
to
are they?
feed a tiger a badger, I think they'd quite appreciate that. Anyway,
Probably. I'm not sure a tiger is
I don't think
particularly
they're fussed.
bothered by which type of
Yeah,
meat they have.
I
Badger
can't
meat.
picture tigers talking about cutting
Or
crusts off
steak.
bread or anything like that. Or whether
It's got a loaf named after it. It's really annoyed. Those damn Sainsbury's, they've renamed it so that I've got, they've renamed it to the
Damn them.
giraffe. What have the giraffes ever done for us? I even have my own cereal.
This is an outrage. I'm going to pen a strongly worded letter to Sainsbury's.
Oh dear. Right, my next two facts are both also animal facts. Lobsters pee from their face and their bladder is located under their brain.
They're not the only ones. Okay. Here's another
all that I've
fact.
got on that
By
one.
the way,
It's,
if you could speak lobster speak, right, they're actually quite leery because they give it all that.
yeah.
Ah, this is just getting worse.
Oh dear. Apparently, they basically lack vocal cords, so they urinate to communicate, particularly when they're fighting or mating. It takes a whole different level to that.
It's a good job we don't have any lobster actors or actresses.
Yeah, and my next one is not much better, but male peacocks fake sex noises to attract peahens. So you must have heard a peacock,
I have. I have.
Have you never heard?
It's quite freaky.
Yeah, it's quite a freaky noise. Apparently, that is a noise
like freaky in
that
a
you wouldn't approve of
well,
in a movie.
I was going to say not like get your freak on. I mean like freaky. Okay.
Oh dear. Yeah, but that's apparently what that noise is.
Fair enough.
Disappointing. This one's brilliant. I think this one's really good. A man once tried to rob a bank after paying $500 to a wizard to make him invisible.
I know this one. This is hilarious.
Oh dear. Yeah, a man in Iran, he made the mistake of trusting a fake sorcerer who convinced him that he was invisible and could rob a bank safely. The man explained to the court that he had paid 5 million rials. Is that RIALS? So just under 290 quid. But
Reals. I
this
think,
is an old article. If 290 quid is $500, because 290 quid is not $500 these days, I can tell you. To a wizard imposter, who in return gave him a set of spells to tie to his arm.
That's right.
The fakes also explained to him that the spells would make him invisible and that he could rob. He could then rob banks all he wanted. Oh, I'm Ron Burgundy today. I'm failing on that. The man's ill-fated attempt to rob the bank started to go wrong after he entered the bank and started randomly snatching money from the hands of customers before they decided to act quickly and overpower the thief. The man told the court, "I made a mistake. I understand now what a big trick was played on me."
Clearly not the sharpest tool in the box.
No.
I laughed out loud when I read that. When I first read that. Because I've just got visions of this person just confidently walking in, going, they can't see me. And the next thing you know, you're on the floor with a gun to your head, being cuffed.
In handcuffs.
What happened?
What happened? How did you see me? And then my last one.
You're right. I keep you up.
Yeah. Blimey. I'm just been hit by that post PT session. That's what it is. Cryptophasia is a language that only twins can understand. So there is a known phenomenon of a language developed by twins, identical or fraternal, that only the two children can understand.
Oh, God.
And it's reported up to 50% of young twins will have their own twin language, which they use to communicate only with each other and cannot be understood by others.
What the actual fringe?
Most of it is expressions, but for the greatest part of words from the adult language adapted to constrained. Oh my god, that's a bit wordy. I'm not going to read all of that out. But yeah, basically, there is a scientific study that about 50% of twins have the ability to understand each other without others understanding how they're communicating with each
Incredible.
other. So yeah, I don't actually think I know any twins.
I went to school with twins that literally from the age of 12 to 18, even though I could tell them apart, and even though I knew them really well, I still, on the odd occasion, made a mistake and would go, Mark, oh no, sorry, you're Glenn. It was incredible. I mean, you could tell them apart, but only just. And I know two people at the place that we work at, which you're going to have to bleep. 1-1, who are you? You are 1-1. Right. So, but they were consultants. Actually, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this.
Right.
No.
There are some in our company.
Yeah, there are.
There are.
They're just twins everywhere. Okay. Look, there's one over there. Don't you mean two? Yes, that's what I meant. They come in pairs. I count them as one. I'll get me coat.
Yeah. So yeah. Well, I'd have to admit, when I read this one, I was a bit like, I've seen the videos where they get like twins to do stuff, and they'll be like, right, pick up a block, and it'll be like the red block, and then the other twin would pick up the red block as well, and then they both pick up the yellow block, and I've seen those types of things, but I didn't realize that they often had the same language. But yeah, yeah. What? Yeah, it's. But then the other one that comes to mind. Have you seen The Big Bang Theory?
Odd episode here and there. I haven't seen all of them.
Yeah, odd episodes. So there's an episode where Sheldon and crumbs, what's his name? Other main character of the group. You got Howard, you got Raj, and I can't think of the Leonard. That's it. God dang, why did that escape me? But they start speaking in Star Trek language, Klingon. They start speaking in Klingon, and then Amy and Penny start talking in what they call ubby-dubby, which is you put ub after every vowel in the word. And you listen, obviously put subtitles on, and they're having an argument, like they're talking to each other in their languages that they understand, and then they have an argument in English between each other. And I've always wanted to learn another language. And well, whether it be Klingon or, we spoke about Game of Thrones, you can learn the language from that. That's on certain language websites. But I've always wanted to learn another language and then not tell people that I could speak that other language.
Love it. And but then what's the point?
Well, until they start speaking that language.
I was going to say, you just like listening to the conversation and then every now and again go,
yeah, exactly.
And think, does he hang about? Does he understand what? Or look really offended?
It's always it's good. But we finally managed to do interesting facts. Right, I'm conscious of time. Probably skip the last bit because it's May. We don't need to do the improving our health.
Talking of improving our health, I'm actually in a bit of pain now because of my back, because I've been sitting for a while. So I'm going to have to go and do some stretching. So there you go.
Have you got a standing desk?
Well, no, but for the podcast, I have to sit down. Yeah, so because I've got to screw this onto the desk. I can't do it on a standing desk. Okay. So yeah, it's just the setup.
That's fine. We'll have just less than a 2-hour sharp podcast then. We'll save. Well, let's do the topical events very quickly.
Yeah, I saw this.
Last minute topical event.
I don't even know what this is about.
Because I know it'll annoy you. I know it's annoying. So, very quick topical event. Twitter have officially removed the tick
Oh,
blue tick. Like you can only have the blue tick if you pay for it now. So, for example, like if I think of names that have lost it, Lewis Hamilton's lost his blue tick. Hillary Clinton's lost her blue tick. Like all of the Formula One teams, because those are the only ones that I really follow, and loads of celebrities and other people have lost it, which means that people have then dived on, paid their £6 or whatever it is, and created another account that's identical and used their blue tick verification. So that's the current mess that Twitter is currently in.
What an absolute show. I saw him. He came up, he popped up. My favourite person. He just popped up on some. They were showing a clip of something, and they were talking about Musk, and he was posing for the cameras, so he was sort of going and doing like silly expressions and with his thumbs up and things. And I thought, honestly, if I just don't want to see him ever again, I don't want to hear his name. I just want a Musk-free life. I just want to live a Musk-free life.
What I can't understand is how Twitter has not just died.
No, I know. After all it's been through in the last 6 months, is it? Nah. Was it longer than that? No, less than that.
Might even be less than that. It was only November, and we're only in April, so
yeah, so roughly 6 months.
Yeah, 5-6 months.
Yeah, incredible.
But I suppose there isn't a competitor, is there? There isn't somebody that they can do to switch.
No, not really, not directly. But then, to be honest with you, this is where it all gets a bit hazy for me. Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. What's the point of all of it anyway? Yeah. I'm not gonna go off on a rant about anything, because one of them is that's my. So when we do our next Room 101, oh, trust me, trust me.
We can go into social media by the sound.
Yeah, there is. Well, it's what people do on social media. See, what's interesting is it's like that whole thing of it's what brings, what social media does, the behaviors it drives, and what it brings out in people, and it's the people. You get rational people doing stuff on social media that you just go, why are you doing this? You're an adult. You're an adult. Sort it out. But like I say, I'll save that one. Just take some deep breaths. Save that for the next one.
But it is a very good segue to say that for all of the guests that are currently planned, so for kind of promotion for our next few podcasts, we have a guest on every single podcast apart from one between now and January next year.
Fantastic.
So we're very excited. We're going to have some great guests. But to our guests who are coming on, who hopefully will actually watch this, but we'll message you before, you need to come up with an item to go into Room 101. And you'll need to make sure that you've got your food opinions and elements ready, which, despite being a general thing, it seems that food is about the only thing that's consistent on our podcast, which I think is fair. I mean,
the friend I was telling you about who we agree on the second item. We vehemently agree on the second item that went into Room 101. We also, every time we chat, we end up talking about food. Everything, literally everything, just goes back to food. And when we were talking, she said, and I said everything is, it's about food. Food is life. Food is life.
Food is life. Absolutely is life. So make sure you've got stuff for Room 101. You thought you got away with it, Jerry. God. What is your final thoughts?
This is actually really embarrassing, because it doesn't have to be poignant though, does it? No,
it's just, what's your final thoughts? What have you taken away?
I'll tell you what I've taken away from this podcast. I've taken a 1-1 draw. 1-1, 1-1, 1-1. Who are ya? Who are ya?
I have written down, by the way, I've written down the time scale. I've written down, at some point we will do the best of football.
Yes.
And at some point we will have to discuss the idiom these. So there is some
content
advertising
on the
for all you
fly. I
listeners.
love it. Yeah.
On the fly. We're on it. We're on it. We're on it.
Your final thoughts? I just
you can't
that
reverse
back.
that on
go
me.
on.
My final thoughts are: this has been great fun. I love this. We always love these podcasts. I think Room 101 was an interesting addition. We will, but you're gonna have to come up with the Room 102.
Yes, I
item
do.
as
I
well.
need to get my thinking cap on. I've got endless
That's
listener
an
101. I need to start building up a backlog for 102.
We're distinct and jovial. We've got to look at the jovial side of things.
Yeah, I agree.
We always do all of this with a pinch of salt. Royal Mail does normally deliver my post. They do fail quite often at it, but
yeah,
what are you going to do? Toasters that don't fit bread in, like just doesn't toasters. So, thank you very much for watching, for listening, for just sending your opinions, your comments, whatever you wanted to send in. I love them. I send the ones I get to me, I send to Jerry, and Jerry does the same. So we often discuss them, and it gives us more ideas and more ways to bring out the conversation from other people and wind you up. Have a wonderful month. We'll catch you all on the next one.
Bye.